Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucs, powered by Chris Gates Fitness. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have, of course, Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How's it going?
It's going well. It's early. I feel kind of refreshed, even though I'm actually probably pretty tired. It's probably going to hit me in like 5 minutes.
I feel great. I haven't even had my first sip of coffee yet. I'm about
Look
to.
at you.
And yeah, I feel good. Had a good night's sleep.
Good. You must have had a really good fantasy day, football day, something. I don't know. I didn't.
I did not.
Okay.
No, so I know people love hearing about other people's fantasy teams. That's like everyone's favorite thing to talk about.
It's why they get up at 7 a.m. on Monday morning so they can hear it.
But just real quick, so far I've had to use 2 quarterbacks this year. Jordan Love, who got hurt week 1. And then I had to put in his backup week 2.
Yeah.
Who was Tua. So that also didn't go well. So the quarterback position on my fantasy team, it is cursed right now. So
yeah,
if there's a quarterback out there you want me to start week 3, who you want to see maybe not play the entire game, let me know. I'll pick him up.
For those who go way back when it was just Ryan and I, because we talked, fantasy, I felt like when it was football time. Because we're in the same league, and you know that I'm in Ryan's league. I have 6 guys that are IR eligible on my roster in week 2. 6. Tua is one.
That's
of them
ridiculous.
Also.
That's
6.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going swell. Anyways,
good luck with that.
Yeah, let's talk some other things here. Let's pivot. They don't want to hear fantasy football. They want to hear the 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates. That's what they want to hear. They're craving for that information.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess before we get into that, let's just go ahead and let everyone know that BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website to get on the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, Jim, where'd you want to go with that?
Oh, I was just going to say the Pirates actually won a game this weekend.
They did.
I wasn't sure they were going to do that. Yeah.
Took the first lead of the game, of the series, in the first inning there. Big stuff.
I didn't get to watch much of yesterday's game. I got up early yesterday, and we had like a brunch gathering at one of my friend's house. So I had way too much French toast, and it made me sleepy. I slept through most of that game yesterday, so I missed.
Oh, wait, hold on. Were you being serious about the French toast part?
Oh yeah, I was being serious. I
thought French toast was maybe code word for something.
No. I had like 2 pieces of like big French toast, and it knocked me out for pretty much the whole day. Can't eat that much French toast on a Sunday morning, DiNardo, without having to take a nap afterwards.
I got you. So you had to take a nap yesterday. Didn't see much of the game. Good for you. That's why you woke up today and felt so good.
That's what it was.
I endured that entire game while watching my fantasy team just go down.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm somewhat fresh, but I feel like it's gonna hit me now. But no, honestly, like that game was it was an interesting game of Pirates September games, I guess, put it that way.
Yeah.
Again, I'm kind of weird. Jared Jones intrigued me a little bit, so it kept me interested from the start. But it was a 4-3 win by the Pirates. Wow.
Yeah, go watch the post-game show if you haven't yet.
By the way, you haven't. It's football season, and going head-to-head with the Steelers game. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, the Pirates
Sundays
game ended
and Thursday nights
right.
are tough for us for this next 2 weeks.
I would say I think the Pirates game ended like right as the Steelers game was starting.
It did.
Yeah.
I think we went live at 4:28. The Steelers game started at 4:25.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess let's discuss a little bit about these Pittsburgh Pirates. There's 13 games left, Jim. One more home series against the Brewers, just one. There's 3 more home games and this season's done. But in those 13 games, they have 7 against teams under 500, 6 against teams above 500, and then they have 71 wins currently. So, like, my question to you, and I know this isn't like the next 13 games, they shouldn't, like it shouldn't define the season because of whatever they do is 13 games. But however, of course, talking these next 13 games, last year they won 76. We talk about improvement. To win 76, right, in these 13 games, they got to win 5 more. Could be done, but that's right around their pacing. What do you want to see in these next 13 games?
I would say like the actual wins and losses don't mean as much, towards the end of the year here as just kind of individuals who are going to play a role in next season. Just finishing the year strong, maybe showing you a little bit something. We talked a little bit about it on Thursday. I think the thing I most want to see is just O'Neal Cruz continuing to get reps out in center field and continuing to grow in that position. You've seen him do some really nice things out there. You've seen him do some not so nice things out there. And in particular, just this last series, right? You saw him get to a few balls that a lot of people can't get to. You saw him maybe not go after balls as aggressively as he should. Like there was an instance where, just not lackadaisical, but I think not attacking the ball quick enough to get it in fast. Those sorts of things. Like, hey, I know you're a freak athlete, but let's get this ball in. Like, this ball needs to get in real quick, right? There's some things like that I think he's just going to have to learn. And so, yeah, just keeping an eye on him the next 2 weeks.
I think they also count on that a little bit to know what balls not to be aggressive on, because that also showed like the ball that he dove straight forward to that he should just let bounce and kept in front of him, that more or less made probably a single, if anything, a double to become a triple.
Yeah. So just stuff like that, just getting a better feel for the position. Want to keep seeing Joey Bart. I just want to see him finish the year strong. See how Andrew McCutchen can finish the year. But I mean, outside, Nick Gonzalez too. Like the guys who are going to be back next year. Like let's see those guys do something. But then there's also some people where you're going to have to make a decision on them. Like Brian De La Cruz, I'm not sure what you do with him next year. I think you probably keep him around, but I don't know. He's shown you absolutely nothing. So like, can Brian De La Cruz show you something these last 2 weeks? Because other than like, if he doesn't, you have to kind of talk about him potentially being a non-contender candidate. Like, where does he fit on this team next year if he just continues scuffling down the stretch here? Yeah, you can hit the occasional homer, but if he's going to go through stretches like this, if he's going to play terrible right field defense, if he's not going to give you anything offensively, then like what's the point?
Right.
I'd like to see Henry Davis come off the IL and get some swings in before the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen. Pitching wise, I think I've seen everything I need to see. Like I don't need to see anything else from that group. I mean, good starts, but like those guys are who they are. There's not much more I need to know about them. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like the wins and losses, not a big deal. I think they can get to 76 wins. That's what, 5 and 8 over this stretch. They play 7 games here against the Cardinals and the Reds coming up. They may get those 5 wins by the end of the week. Maybe if they play good baseball.
Hold up, Jim. Don't do this again.
Hey, if they play good baseball. They won 4 games last week, so hey, they were 4-2 last week. Yeah, I think they'll get to 76 wins. I think they could get to 77 wins, and then you're like, all right, hey, is that quote unquote improvement then?
Right.
Then you start justifying people's jobs at that point.
Yeah. I want to throw in something else here too. And just because I've been talking, I think more online about it, like on Twitter than like on the post game shows or on here. But I think it's something of note because this guy did something last year that made us talk a lot this offseason and like what he could be this year, and he's kind of doing that thing again. And that's Jared Triolo. Jared Triolo came into this year and we thought, like probably not the best hitter. He's not going to be the hitter that he showed last year. Like we know his BABIP fueled. However, he's been a good contact guy. Like he hits the ball. We don't know why he doesn't hit for much power at all, but we felt like he could be, for a utility guy, super utility play pretty much all over the infield and such to have that backup bat, most of his value come defensively, but have a capable bat to be in there, add some value. Didn't show this year. He started off okay and then just really, really went downhill really quickly and really bad. And I feel like it's been coming a little bit better. And honestly, Brian Hayes went down almost a month ago now. All right. Jared Triolo has played and started third base since August 18th. And since that time, Jim, he's been a very capable bat again. Since that time, 94 plate appearances. He's batting 266, 383, slugging 430 with a 130 weighted runs created plus. 13 more games left. Is he going to trick us again? And what's this going to do for the offseason? I don't know if I'm going to get tricked again. We've been tricked too many times from that third base position in totality. Doesn't matter whose face is there, but the position always tricks us this time of year. But again, like I talk about, like if you're going to see something, I'd rather see it good than bad. I don't know. I mean, if Jared Triolo finishes off the season strong, hey, I guess to give him some credit, like he does have. Talk about plate appearances, right? You talk about why you're going to stay there for Henry Davis. Like he doesn't have a whole ton of plate appearances in the majors. Yeah, this is his first full season as well. Maybe something's coming around for him every day at bats. I don't know. All the things you talked about, certainly stuff I want to see as well. But I'm also not to get tricked, not to think that he's something better than what he is, but kind of watching Jared Triolo here also.
So there's a reason why I didn't say Jared Triolo when I was going through people's names, and it's because I don't care. He's playing well right now. I don't think there's anything hidden in there that we're missing. I think he's having a good 1 to 2 month stretch of baseball. We've seen a lot of Jared Triolo, and most of it has been bad. He's had some good, most of it's been bad. Now, I'm not saying Jared Triolo is not a Major League Baseball player. I think he's a very capable utility guy. I think if you need to, if you're looking for somebody who can play multiple positions and play them well, and at least not be embarrassing at the plate, Jared Triolo's that kind of guy. I don't think Jared Triolo should be getting 500, 450 plus plate appearances in a season, which is what he's going to get this year. And you look at the overall numbers over the course of an entire season, like it's not good. It's quite bad. He was statistically the worst everyday player in baseball for 4 months or so.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
That's where he was. So he's hitting his way out of the worst hitter in baseball spot. All right. So good job there. And he's hitting his way into being like at least a capable, backup. I don't have much interest in watching Jared Triolo every day. I don't really care what he does on a day-to-day basis. He's got over 600 plate appearances now. He's shown that he's not all that great of a hitter. Stuff's falling in right now, showing a little bit more power right now too. But overall, like he doesn't hit the ball hard enough. He doesn't barrel the ball up enough. He's not good enough at the plate that you can just say, "Hey, Jared, go ahead and start." I think he's a perfectly capable backup infielder. Give him 250 plate appearances a year. I can live with that, but I don't think he's anything more than that.
Well, I'll say this part, and we're talking way too much about him already, but I wasn't sure he's a capable backup. That's why I'm kind of interested in right now is because is he maybe showing us that he is what we were hoping that he's going to be this year, a capable backup? And what makes him capable is the fact that he can play all the different positions. And what makes this, I don't want to say important because again, like a backup infielder should be important, but the direction they're going this way, O'Neal Cruz isn't as short anymore. Seems as if it might be IKF. And if IKF is, that was the IKF role. Like that's why you're excited about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa being on this team next year because hey, you can get Jared Trill out here. You don't have to rely on him. He's the guy that can play everywhere. And if he's going to be everyday shortstop, well then Jared Trill is probably entering the picture again. So can he be that capable backup? And maybe he's starting to show it. That's all. And again, because of the health of Brian Hayes, like you don't like that's worrisome.
Yeah, I mean you need a capable backup there in case you got to turn to him because mean Hayes has proven year in and year out he can't play 162 games.
Right. So
you need someone there. Yeah, you need someone there to plug in when Hayes eventually goes down over the course of a long season.
Yep. But we can move on from Jared Trill though. I'm also excited. I want to see how Jared Jones and Paul Skeens, they have probably 2 starts left in them this year. What they do. And of course, I think probably something that's really, really important is how David Bednar finishes.
Yeah. I'm just I same kind of thing, same thing with Bednar. Like I just get through the year. I don't really think how he finishes at this point matters too much. Get through the year, figure out what you were doing wrong this offseason, and then come back next year ready to go. Like that's where I'm at with Bednar. I don't really think you can figure something out over 2 weeks. I don't know if you can turn things around for your season over the final 2 weeks. So like for Bednar right now, just get your way through the year, get through it somewhat effectively, and then just reassess afterwards and figure out what went wrong.
Yeah.
That goes for a lot of guys in the bullpen, I think. Like Holderman, same way. Like just get through these last 2 weeks, figure out what went wrong that second half and fix it.
Yeah. I guess to wrap this up in that sense, though, it's like there's not too much that's going to change, right? Identify 2024, obviously, but yeah, I just don't. I hate to keep saying this. I keep to bring it up, right? But it's just like I don't know how you look at this team right now and talk improvement and feel happy. Like to get O'Neal Cruz back, you didn't have O'Neal Cruz at all last year. Basically, you were given O'Neal Cruz back, who's a 3.4 WAR player right now. You're handed Paul Skeens, generational pitcher, top 3. I mean, MLB released their power rankings right now. The top starting pitching in all of baseball, right? And we were talking on NSN Live as the top 5 pitcher. They rated him number 3, the 3rd best pitcher in baseball. You have O'Neal Cruz back, a 3.4 WAR player. You have Paul Skeens, the top 3 pitcher in all of baseball this year. And you didn't sell. You didn't trade off a Carlos Santana. You didn't lose players at the deadline. And you're really hovering about what you did last year. Like that just like make it make sense. You have so much more talent this year. And look where you got. Why? That's frustrating. So again, like where they end this year, like if they do go on some run, they find some way to get 79 wins, even 80, which I doubt that's ever going to happen. But it's like I don't know if I look at this because these last 2 weeks when it meant nothing with the Jared Triolo's heating up, that they're able to find a way to get to 80. But I want to say something that I do want to maybe talk a little bit about here also. Because I found it pretty interesting yesterday. It was Kevin Gorman tweeted out, had some video, had a conversation with him as well. But Brian Reynolds was taking grounders, practicing grounders. When he talked to him and discussed maybe about a potential move to first base, because hey, anything can happen at this point in time. They've taken O'Neill Cruz from short, put him to center. You're taking grounders today. Is it possible, Brian, that you move into first makes sense because this is something the Pirates have had trouble finding, and right now there's not a solution for first base? And would you be willing to? And I don't think I've ever seen Brian just like say no, right? He's gonna always say like the right thing, but he more or less said like what's ever best for the team, and if I'm good at it, right? If I'm capable of doing it, that was his out. Which again, that's probably the best way to put it. But like, and I can do it, and it makes me a better player. Sure. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've been beating the drum for a while that like the first baseman of the future for this team's already on the roster, and his name's Brian Reynolds. He can hit from both sides, so you don't have to platoon him with anyone. He can do it effectively, right-handed, left-handed. He's been a liability in the outfield. His arm is his one like really redeeming quality out there, and you saw that on display this weekend too. He had a really nice throw. But his arm is pretty much all he's got going for him out there. Outside that, his range, outs above average. It's the worst in Major League Baseball. So it's not great out there for him. In left field in particular, you want a really good fielder, or at least someone better than worst in Major League Baseball. And I know it's weird because you look at Brian Reynolds and he's athletic, and it's like he does pass the eye test out there. He doesn't do too much out there to make you think this guy's the worst defensive outfielder in baseball. But like, you look at metrics across the board, and they pretty much all agree he's pretty bad out there. And like I said, you've been looking for a first baseman forever. First basemen are tough to come by on the free agent market, like we just saw last year. There's a few of them, but they also tend to be kind of expensive for really what kind of value they bring. I mean, you look at a guy like Rhys Hoskins, who would have been an upgrade over Rowdy Tellez, but at the end of the day, their seasons aren't that dissimilar. But you've got one guy making $20 million a year. You got another guy making 4 or 5, whatever. You can't get another Rowdy Tellez type player out of your first base position. Like, you need someone in that spot who can hit for power, and they can hit consistently. Like, that's what first base is there for. It's an easy position to play. Put someone there who can hit the ball. I think Brian Reynolds, especially, like I said, with his athleticism, he can do it. He would be able to play the position. It's not a position he's like never done before either. He played it a little bit at Vanderbilt. He played it a little bit, on like the collegiate national team when he played there. So it's not an entirely new position. But no, I think he could do it. I think he's the answer. And then, I think someone asked here in the comments, like, sure, move him to first base, but then, Ben Cherington's going to have a job to do. He's going to have to fill out the left field position. So, but I think what you do is, if you move Reynolds to first base, you create an easier hole to fill, maybe. Like, I feel like it's easier to go out there and find corner outfielders than effective hitting first baseman. There's just not a lot of good first basemen in Major League Baseball anymore. It's a lot of just kind of average guys. There's corner outfielders out there who can be impactful players. And you look at the free agency list this coming season, and there's plenty. Like, there's center field was the one outfield position where it was like, it's Harrison Bader and that's it. So that, the Cruz move there kind of makes sense and fills that hole. But corner outfield, like, there's guys available and there's good players available. You're gonna have to open the wallet a little bit if you want to pay for power, but power's there if you want to go get it. And it's a lot more ample there as it is at first base. So if you're able to plug that hole internally, create a different hole that's easier to fill, it makes sense to me. As I said, it makes sense to me. And you can finally stick someone there at first base and not have to worry about that position for 5+ years when it's a position that's haunted you for how I mean, we haven't had a consistent first
Since
baseman since Kevin Young. I mean,
yeah,
it's been that long. Like we've had some good seasons here and there put up by guys, but like the last real consistent first baseman we had over a multi-year stretch was Kevin Young. Josh Bell had like one miracle year, but outside that, he kind of went back to being, normal. So,
mhm.
yeah, I love it. I hope it's something they pursue.
With you there because of everything you said. I mean, it would be exciting to have the arm of O'Neal Cruz and the arm of Brian Reynolds in the outfield. And then, who knows what the right fielder is going to be, but if they have an arm too, like think about the weapons you can have there just because the arm, like you said. I mean, that was the reason why you talk about O'Neal Cruz. Like, well, there's no way you put him at first because he's so athletic and that tool with that arm, you find a way to use it. And it's like, well, that's what you're talking about with Brian Reynolds. The problem is, O'Neal Cruz, you find he's probably going to be somewhat of a good outfielder. You can see that. I could see it with Brian Reynolds, and he was. It's just kind of like you're mentioning. It's just really weird of how far he's dropped off. He went from actually because he was a corner outfielder who got moved into center, and we're like, oof, I don't know if I like that. And it was like, oh wow, actually, it's pretty good. Brian Reynolds is a good center fielder. I wasn't expecting that. And then it just progressively got worse and got pulled off, and now he's at left, and it's really bad at left field. And it's like you say, it's when you look at the eye test, like it's very Jordy Mercer like. It looks fun. He's just not good enough to make the plays that most people do, and you don't see it. Like he does all the right things good. When he gets to a ball, he makes the right play. He throws the right base. He has that good arm. He just doesn't get a lot of balls, and you don't really notice it until like you see like the advanced metrics. Like, oh wow, like that ball we talked about, the O'Neal Cruz, he made it look so easy. That's a 40% catch probability. Brian Reynolds doesn't even get there. And so this looks like, okay, we couldn't get there. The balls he can get to, he makes, just like Jordy Mercer. So, yeah, like the defense isn't really good there. Ideally, I think Brian Reynolds is best for left field. If you can find some way to bring that back, I just don't know if you can because it's been diminishing over time. And if that is the case, that's the anti-Cruz argument. Well, yes, that arm is a tool for the outfield for sure, but it's such a liability everywhere else. Yeah. What if you have a guy who's 20, 25, 30% above average hitter at first base? Have the Pirates, when's the last time like you mentioned, like when's the Pirates seen that before? Even Kevin Young was good, but he wasn't like that good. He was not a Brian Reynolds at first base. But that's the bar. That's the standard for Pirates first baseman. Kevin Young, an adequate for above average first baseman. So I think that can help. Like you said, there's a lot better ways to fill the position in left than it is in first. So hearing that he was receptive to it was kind of nice to hear right now heading into this offseason. And I wonder if there is any thought to that for the Pirates. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. And when you're stacking him up, like if you put Brian Reynolds up against, if you make him a first baseman, it's basically Bryce Harper, Freddie Freeman, your top two first basemen in the NL. And that's probably Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds would he would slot in as like the third best first baseman in the National League.
There you go.
Behind those two, most likely. So you finally have a position where, and you've got one now. Like he's one of the best. He's one of the best hitting outfielders in baseball right now too in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
But like you move him there, and he solidly cements himself as a top 5 first baseman in baseball.
Like it.
Matt Olson. Matt Olson's having a terrible year, guys. Brian Reynolds is having a hell of a lot better season than Matt Olson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll stick by it. Brian Reynolds over Matt Olson.
There you go. And
yep.
I was gonna say, just to add one other caveat here too, with his diminishing outfield skills, like you talk about, PNC Park left field is very important, right? You want to have some pretty good off or defense there. So with O'Neal Cruz being in center, and we're not sure how it is, it might be rough having O'Neal learn the position in center and having a very bad defender in left also. So
Yeah.
that's also why I can kind of get on board with it.
But like, you look at the free agents out there too, and we'll do a whole episode of like, free agents and who to target. But like there's some names. Like you got your top tier names that are going to be available there in the corner outfield, but there's plenty of ball players out there that are available.
You thinking who I am?
Who are you thinking?
Juan Soto?
Let's give Juan Soto like
what are you laughing about?
What do you think Soto's going to land this offseason?
The biggest contract no, I guess not, because that was technically
like he's young enough. I wonder if somebody will give him like 14 years, something crazy like that.
He has to easily top 500 million.
I think it depends on the years, but I wonder if someone gives him something like 14 years.
Has to. It's going to be the Dodgers.
Probably.
Oh man. But anyways,
I think he sticks with New York. Honestly, just a good situation for him.
He is fitting nicely there too. But go ahead.
No, I think. But outside, like you have Soto as the big name. Michael Conforto is probably. I mean, not Conforto, but Conforto was one of the guys who I was going to say you could go get. But as in right field, Anthony Santander probably going to get a good amount of money. He's putting together a really nice year, and power always costs money. So, but like there's going to be plenty of guys: Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforto, Max Kepler, Jesse Winker, Tyler O'Neill. Those guys are all going to be available coming off okay seasons, and they're good. Like those are upgrades, and those are players that make your team a lot better.
Yep, I agree. So, anyways, yeah, I guess that kind of wraps that up. But yeah, I did definitely want to mention about Brian Reynolds and seemed that he was receptive to a position change to first. And again, I know you and Tyler have definitely been talking about that. So, yeah, it was nice to hear. We'll see what happens. Is it time to bring on the Murph Dog?
I think it is. While we're bringing Murphy on, today's show, just like every Monday morning, is sponsored by the Online Fitness Training Camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. Training Camp is an online fitness community designed specifically for sports fans to help you get your results with your health and fitness without cutting out everything that you love, like French toast, drinking beer, or tailgating for Pirates games or football games. In Training Camp, you'll get all the support you need to build muscle, burn fat, and stay consistent with your workouts. And at the same time, you'll instantly join a community of like-minded people doing the same thing. With Chris as your coach, you'll get top-notch guidance in addition to being a massive Pittsburgh sports fan. Chris has been coaching people online since 2018, and his clients consistently get results by implementing a flexible approach to diet and exercise. So if you're interested in getting brand new workout programs every month so you can achieve your health and fitness goals, fitness challenges every month to help you push to develop healthy habits, challenges within the Training Camp community, like weekly football pick'em, which I didn't do well this week, where you can get to compete with other members and score awesome prizes, access to live Q&As where you can get direct personalized support from Chris with your health and fitness, and support of a community of people there to encourage you every step of the way. Visit chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp or click on the link in the description to learn more and sign up today. Use code Starbucs. Get your first month for 50% off.
There you have it.
There we go.
Good stuff. So, as we do every week, let's welcome Anthony Murphy from Bucs On Deck. Murph, what's up, my guy?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, good morning.
Talking Pirates. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff as always.
Yeah. So not a whole lot going on this week. Bradenton was out, but Greensboro had their postseason. Altoona finished up their season, their last week of the year. Indianapolis, after today, still the only one still going, right?
Yep. Yesterday was their last home game of the season. They play one more time on the road, and then no more minor league baseball.
Sad days. When does the fall league start? That's got to be coming.
I think read article is like October 4th.
Okay, so we should be hearing those lineups. Like,
it wouldn't surprise me if we heard them this week.
Yeah,
there you go.
This week.
So let's talk about the minor leagues. Greensboro was playing in the South Atlantic League Championship. How'd that go?
Not well.
Nah.
Did not go well. Did not go well. They forced a game 3, but even the game they won, they were being they were up 2-0, but they didn't get a hit until the 6th inning. Game 1 they struck out 17 times, and then game 3 was more of not much hitting going on.
So what you're saying is they're ready.
Yeah.
All these guys there. Yeah, they're
the system philosophy runs
right
deep.
here.
Yeah, it runs deep.
Ooh, 17 strikeouts. That's rough. All right. Well, unfortunately, Greensboro didn't win. I think Indianapolis is still in a chase currently too. Like they've got a shot at playoffs, don't they?
It's one of those, like, technically yes, but I think they need like Columbus to lose like all 6 of their games this week.
Got it.
And then they would have to win every game this week as well.
Okay.
For them to make a playoffs. So technically yes, but with how well Columbus is playing lately, probably not.
It's like how the Pirates aren't mathematically eliminated yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're still technically in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's 13 games left, and I think we're 11 games out. So it's like
there's a chance.
Still possible. Yeah.
Just got to win out, and everyone else lose out. And
you guys just gotta believe.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Okay. So now that we know how the teams are doing, let's talk about some individual performances. Let's start with hitting today. I feel like we always start with pitching. Let's start with hitting today. Let's highlight a couple guys this past week.
Well, someone a little bit new, someone who finished the year pretty strong. It was pretty rough year for him there. I know he was a guy that we talked about like early in the season or like off season stuff like that, because he had that really good Arizona Fall League, kind of see like what would happen. Jace Bowen finished the year pretty strong. Had like an OPS of over 1,000 in September. This past week had 8 hits, 2 home runs. I think the last 2 games of the year he hit a home run, so he kind of closed out like really strong. Like I said, wasn't a great year overall for him, but he finished strong. So I guess there's something in that. Maybe he gets a look in Indy this last week, just as kind of like a reward kind of thing. I know they always send up like 1 or 2 guys up to Indy once the season's over, just to reward for the play. I don't think there's too many names on Altoona that you can probably pick from. So maybe just take the guy who played the best at the end of the year, and Bowen would definitely be a guy then at that point.
Yeah, I would imagine Endy's doing that, right?
I would imagine that. Like, I don't think you would bring Endy up here just for 1 week of play. So I'm sure he'll probably be a guy that finishes out in Indy as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jace Bowen. I think you got to probably call this season a disappointment. He had a really good year in Greensboro last season. The power just kind of didn't show up this year in Double-A, which, I mean, if you're a corner outfielder who isn't going to hit, for average, then you've got to hit for power. And so he didn't do that this year. He turned 24 a couple weeks ago. So he's getting up there in age. He's going to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft again. He was eligible last year. Can't imagine he's a guy that the Pirates protect. But yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of need guys in your system like this. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's a late bloomer, but you were hoping to see more out of Jace Bowen this year.
Yeah, definitely. Especially after the Arizona Fall League he had last year, to where like he was like top 5 in like almost every offensive category there. You hoping he kind of just built off that.
Yeah.
Didn't really.
But I mean, finished strong. That's good to see. Okay. What else we got? Who else we got?
I guess he didn't play much this week, and I don't know if something was going on. I haven't heard anything like that, but I guess it's worth mentioning. Like, Tamar had like a really bad game on Tuesday, 0 for 4 strikeouts, and then like the 2 other games he played, like they were really good. Like one game he had 3 hits and 2, like he got on base all 5 times. He had another game where he picked up another couple hits, didn't strike out at all after that in a couple games he played. I thought it was a really really nice bounce back, like couple of games, like exactly the kind of thing you want to see from a guy who's super young for the level. Just now kind of getting a taste of it and stuff like that. You kind of figure there'll be bad games and stuff like that. So to see that and then to see him kind of make the kind of adjustments you want to see, I feel like that was, although smaller sample size, that was really encouraging to see closing out the year. Like I said, he didn't play the last 2 games of the season. Like I don't think they said anything with it. So that kind of sucked not to see him kind of continue to build off of that. But
yeah, I think you got to be encouraged with his 2 weeks, and I guess it was 3 weeks in Altoona, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of struggles like you probably would assume that you would see and stuff like that. But then there's also like a lot of little stuff that I feel like you can build off of kind of thing going into next year. So, which I think is exactly what you want to see when you give these guys like these quick little looks.
As I say, I mean, it's the end of the year. It's not like he's gonna have a ton of time in AA, but he got the promotion. You're excited for him. But like he struggled really, really bad when he first got called up. And like you said here, that's what's kind of encouraging. I mean, quickly he started turning around. The hits started coming. Yeah, he had that 4 strikeout game. That's only the only game he struck out in his last 5 games. Yeah, the other ones he didn't have any strikeouts. Like you mentioned, the hits started coming. So again, like it's going to end. The season's going to end for him. It's going to stop. He's not going to be able to progress. But he got the promotion. To see him starting to catch on and doing well there before the season ends is an encouraging thing. I'll say that.
Yeah, the fact that he held his own, at age 20, his first stint, like he'll go back to Altoona next year, I'm sure, to start off the season, and hopefully builds upon that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the guy because, like, I mean, he's not someone who like missed a bunch of time and stuff like that. But I don't know if he's someone maybe that you want to like. Maybe he's like the ideal guy to maybe push to the fall league this year, kind of thing, just to like, we're gonna throw you in with. Because like the fall league isn't like they don't send like the big name like pitching prospects there like they used to and stuff like that. But you get a lot of like veteran guys there, maybe like a lot of organizational guys who maybe don't have like high end potential, but like they've pitched a bunch in the minors. So there's that experience thing and stuff like that. So maybe you're not facing high end talent, but you're gonna face guys who know how to pitch a lot more, and maybe that kind of experience would still be very valuable to someone, especially his age kind of thing. So,
yeah. Okay. Let's switch over to the pitchers. Who had a good week this week?
I mean, I guess we could, since probably only going to see him one more time this year. Probably talk about like Bubba one more time, right?
Yes, thank you.
Can never have enough Bubba.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. He went 5 2/3 perfect before allowing his first base runner. Loaded the bases, and then I think it was like a strikeout to get out of the inning. But another double-digit strikeout outing. Just 1 hit over 6 innings. He got promoted to AAA, and then somehow got a whole lot better, which is like really good to see. Like a 1.59 ERA in 34 innings. He's a 35, like right at 35% strikeout rate at AAA. Which is like insane.
Yeah.
And the walks haven't really been like the walks went up just a tad from AA, which over 34 innings, maybe there's some variance there with that. So, but
I have something here I think you'll appreciate because again, I'm always reminded. I go back to the beginning of the year before the season even started, and this wasn't to compare the two, but you kept talking him up, especially because the fastball. His fastball is really, really good, right? And it's still kind of different. But Paul Skeen's time in AAA, 27.1 innings, 0.99 ERA, 2.64 FIP, 32.3% K rate, 175 batting average. Bubba Chandler's time there, 34 innings, a 1.59 ERA, 2.40 FIP, 34.6 K rate, so better than Paul Skeen's, 158 batting average, also better than Paul Skeen's. Just again, like to put perspective.
At the beginning of the year, somewhere, I can't find the article, but somewhere I put that Bubba Chandler is a lot closer than Paul Skeens than people want to than people either like realize or want to admit.
That's
Like,
the thing
he's
that I
a
said
lot
always stands out
closer.
in my mind. Verbally, that's what you said on this
Mhm.
show. Like again, this
Yeah.
was in March when you're talking
Mhm.
about this, and so again, that's how I felt like you would appreciate that because I think this kind of puts in that. That's how I'm feeling with him right now. Like to me, he's in between Jared Jones and Paul Skeens.
He's at this point now, and I think we mentioned he's light year. No, maybe not. Like he's way ahead of where Jared Jones was in the same stage of their development because like they've pretty much followed like the same path, like like level wise and stuff like that. Both were 21 whenever they finally hit AAA. Jared Jones, like he was good. Jared Jones was good in AAA, but like he was not anywhere near this good. He is not like Bubba Chandler. Like I had like the TJ stats, like the Stuff Plus pulled up, and like Bubba has like 3 pitches above average right now. The curveball is like right at average, and that's a pitch that he's really just started throwing. And he's already able to throw it for like the whiff rate's over 30%, and he's throwing it for strikes over half of the like it's in the like he's throwing it for a strike a lot. And like at best that's like just like kind of he's been using it as like a show me pitch, like, hey, it's here, you have to account for it. And like it's just another pitch that you have to take account for. And like that fastball maybe like with like Skeens in the major, that fastball may be the best fastball in the minors right now, like easily. Like he has over a 30% chase rate with it right now in AAA. Over a 30% chase rate. Like hitters are chasing it out of the zone 30%, and that which is insane for a fastball.
I love Bubba Chandler right now.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, 6 outings in AAA, 4 of them he hasn't allowed an earned run. The strikeouts are there. He's not giving up hits. Yeah, he's been really good. I've been on the Bubba train for a while now too. I think he's very good. I think it's kind of taken I think it's taken these like prospect rankings a little bit of time to kind of catch up to how good he really is. He's finally getting a little bit more love there, but even then, I still think he's not high enough, but he's at least getting like top 30 prospect recognition now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think you're looking at a guy who, if he's not the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball, like he's top 3 in my mind.
There's 2 guys that come to mind, like when we're talking about like right-handed pitching prospects. There's 2 guys that come to mind immediately that I would maybe have ahead of him. But even then, he's younger than both of them, and he's pitched in AAA longer than both of them. So like he kind of has a little bit of an edge there when it comes to it. But like there's 2 guys really right-handed wise that you could probably make a case for, and then like I can probably just as easily make a case that Bubba's ahead of both of them. So
yeah. So
I'm full blown truther at this point in time with Bubba Chandler. It's ridiculous what he's doing.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably put Job up there, right? Like that's who you're putting up there, and then I don't know who your other one is, if it's Painter or Dolander, but
probably Dolander. Painter like definitely has the potential to be like the top pitching, but it's like it's that unknown factor still, just because he hasn't he's not back yet from Tommy John. So.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's right up there. And you look at, I mean, Jackson Jobe is a top 5 prospect in baseball right now, top 2, even if you're looking at Baseball America rankings. But like, I think Bubba's right there with Jobe. Like, I think if you compare the two, I think you can make arguments for both of them. And so when you're comparing somebody to the number 2 prospect in baseball and saying like, I think he might be better than this guy, or at least like on par, you're talking about a really, really good pitching prospect.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch. So
yeah, he's had an outstanding season. So one more start out of him. I don't anticipate, like I'm sure a lot of people are going to be banging the drum, like give Bubba Chandler 1 start in the majors. I don't see that happening, because then you've got to carry him on the 40-man all off season. And that 40-man spot, guys, it's probably more valuable than 1 Bubba Chandler start in September. So
And depending
Don't
how much he
expect it.
pitches in his next
Yeah.
start, like that'll push him over 120 innings this year, depending how deep he goes in his last start. And I don't see them pushing him that much further than that. So
Yeah. So I don't see it happening. But should definitely see him next year. Probably like early next year. Like he's
very early.
He's banging on the door.
Yeah.
So cool. Good stuff.
So who gets to follow that up?
I don't know. Everything's kind of a disappointment. Everything's kind of a, it's they last couple weeks and stuff like that. So not too many people had a chance to stand out, but I will kind of give a shout out to Eddie Ying. We talk about guys who kind of moving up on there. John Drecker, I think it was last night on Twitter, said that he's going to be one of the guys that's heading to Indy with the season over. He had a pretty solid year in Altoona this year. Kind of was like the everything man in the Altoona bullpen. Came in big situations, picked up some saves, some holds, got 7 wins, pretty good ERA. The xFIP kind of matched it and all that. So just kind of a really solid season overall. And I mean, he's kind of like he's the last remnant of the Josh Bell trade now. So, and finally he's made it to AAA, and he's only 22, 23 years old as well. So
yeah, he's 23. Yeah, I'd say it was like an okay season in Altoona. I know he finished the year really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
You still probably want to see more strikeouts. He did finally get like his walks under control this year for the first time ever. Yeah, I mean he's Rule 5 eligible. If you are picking up a Rule 5 drafty, like relievers who especially can throw left-handed is kind of a someone that you're interested in. So I mean, maybe Eddie Ying is on some people's lists as a potential Rule 5 draft pick. I don't know. I don't think he's worth necessarily adding to the 40 man to protect. But I could see a team like a bad team who's just looking for bullpen help, maybe take a flyer on him. I could like, it's not outside the realm of possibility.
I think he's kind of the guy that, like, I know me and Ola are going to talk about it tonight. Like, he's a guy maybe you can kind of showcase at the fall league or something like that. And kind of maybe, and if he does well or something like that, he's thrown quite a bit of innings. So I don't like, again, it's kind of weird with how they work the fall league guys and stuff like that. You don't want to send too many prominent like pitchers and stuff like that, but maybe he's a guy you send out there and you kind of showcase. You get like a week of data on him in AAA. You send him in the fall league, have him pitch a little bit there, and if it's kind of good, maybe you can make a move, make a trade him or something like that, get something back instead. Since you're not going to protect him, you're most likely. I can't imagine a scenario where they do protect him. Maybe you get some sort of minor league filler or something like something back that you're not going to have to protect, and that way you don't lose him for completely nothing if someone does take a flyer on him.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like that's what they were doing with like Bowen last year too. It's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah, send. I think that's probably a good way to look at it. Look at some of the guys who are like Rule 5 eligible and stuff like that, and maybe that kind of gives you an idea of who they may send that way.
Yep. Yeah, good stuff. I'm not much in the Eddie Ying. I don't think the Pirates have any reason to protect him. Not for going into the next year, but I could certainly see some team taking a flyer at him. Just like Jim mentioned, like this is your prototypical player that you're going to pick at Rule 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool
Good stuff.
But good for him, though. I'll say that. Good for him. I mean, he has turned it around and he's made himself a productive player.
There was a lot of promise there, like back when he was in Bradenton and stuff like that. He kind of looked like maybe he could kind of be a guy. Like obviously the control's like always been a thing with him, but it's kind of okay. Well, like if he gets the control like under wraps and stuff like that, maybe you're kind of working with something there then. And then it just took multiple years for that control to kind of finally come, and it's kind of shown. And said wasn't like a great year. Like he wasn't like Luis Peralta kind of good, but still had a pretty solid year.
You're not going
I
to
know
let
you're
that
a
one
little
go, are you?
salty. You're a little salty about Peralta still.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Luis Peralta, he's been pretty good, hasn't he? Again, I'm not going to go up in arms about trading minor league relievers, but yeah, he's been very effective since going over to Colorado.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have one more comment, and then we'll let you go here. But someone asked about Nick York. Any possibility Nick York? I know he's also Rule 5 eligible this offseason, so he needs added to the 40-man. Any chance that happens before the end of the year, or?
I mean, I guess we can't say never on it. I think the biggest thing for me, as I'm kind of watching him play, is like the only thing that I can see that would be holding him back is like where do you play him? Because you have Nick Gonzalez playing every day, and maybe if you're not sold on him playing elsewhere, if you're not sold on him playing like other positions, then like you really don't have anywhere else to play him. So you might as well kind of like maybe get Nick Gonzalez every day at bats to see how you feel about him, and then you kind of just maybe then you trade York in the offseason, you trade Nick Gonzalez in the offseason, something like that. But he's been playing, like he played shortstop like Friday and Saturday, and then I think he played center field on Sunday. So they're starting to, or right, I think it was right field on Sunday. So they're starting to like push the issue again a bit with him. I don't think he's any of those positions. I don't think he's a super utility guy at this point. Like the only person that probably makes him a super utility guy is Ben Cherington, and that's who has him.
Well, ultimately, that's what matters.
yeah. I mean, he's the guy making the decisions now, so that's why we're seeing Nick York as a super utility guy in AAA. So I guess if like they really pushed this last week and like he doesn't play, if you don't see him play second base at all this week, then maybe that's them planning for like the final thing when Indy's done to give him a couple games. But he hasn't been bad. I just don't really see it.
So what I'm hearing is the last week Brian Reynolds will be playing first base, so that way Nick York can play outfield.
I mean, left field is probably the only other position that I feel like it would work at.
Done deal. Settled.
I mean, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, anything else you have, Jim?
I don't have anything. Appreciate you coming on, Murphy. So you can find Anthony on the Bucs On Deck Substack. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Also podcast about the minor league system every single Tuesday with Nola. So make sure if you want to hear more about the system, you listen to that too. So it comes out every Tuesday. But yeah, appreciate you hopping on here this morning.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
All right. See you, man.
All right.
So, Jim, favorite time of the show. A couple weeks ago, you said the Cubs are going to get swept. Pirates got swept. But you redeemed yourself. You said the Pirates are going to sweep the Marlins. And guess what happened? The Pirates swept the Marlins. So, Jim, we have the Cardinals. The Pirates are going into St. Louis this week to face the mighty St. Louis Cardinals. Who's getting swept this time?
You know what? I don't think anybody's getting swept this week. It's a 4-game series. It's tough to sweep a 4-game series.
But this is the Pittsburgh Pirates talking about.
It is. But no, I mean, we've seen the Cardinals a lot. They're just a game under 500, so they're looking to salvage a winning season, I guess. Their fans have definitely given up. If you've seen pictures of Busch Stadium, no one's there. So I'm sure this will be a very lackadaisical series. It hasn't I don't think they've announced the rotation yet for it, but I mean, Skeens should be going tonight. Should be having Ortiz going at least once, but you're probably going to find one start in there from a reliever. You're probably getting one bullpen game would be my guess. Just since they didn't have an off day for a while since Thursday. But no, I mean we've seen a lot of the Cardinals. We kind of know who they are at this point. Mason Wynn's a pretty exciting shortstop. Goldie's having a down year, but it's Arenado's having a down year. A lot of down years for a lot of their older guys. Their younger guys aren't really playing as well as they probably would like, but they did call up Jordan Walker again, so he's back in the majors. He's kind of like their version of Henry Davis, I feel like, like monster prospect, tons of potential, and just every time you give him at bats, it's just a disaster.
That's such a good call.
But yeah, just kind of a lot of, there's still a lot of potential there, and he's still young. Starting rotation still pretty good though. I mean, that's their strength. I mean, and it's mostly stayed intact this season. Like they've been able to keep their guys healthy. Sonny Gray having a great year. Eric Fetty ended up being a pretty good acquisition by the White Sox, who then traded him to the Cardinals. Kyle Gibson's had a good year, and then we've seen our fair share of Michaelis, Lynn, Payante. So like we've seen all these guys. They're a very just mediocre baseball team kind of across the board. Starting pitching is probably their strength, and actually I would say their bullpen's their strength, if anything, but their starting pitching's okay. Yeah, just your basic mediocre team, St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, that show here, it's going to be Skeens, Falter, TBD, like you mentioned, it's probably a bullpen, and then Luis Ortiz, where we'll have Payante, Lance Lynn, and then Sonny Gray as well that we'll face. I guess this gives me an opportunity. I just want to mention this because I think you and I this offseason talked about some of these pitchers that want to see the Pirates get. And they went to the Cardinals. And, one was like Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's having a pretty good season. The other one's Kyle Gibson, who I don't think the Pirates will face because I think he just pitched. He might, though. He might be what the TBD is here for them also for the last game. But yeah, like you mentioned, like Sonny Gray was a good signing. He's a good pitcher. But like Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn have had some really nice, solid seasons. What you could ask for. So, two guys I thought the Pirates would like line up nicely with. They decided to spend their $11 million with Marco Gonzalez and Martin Perez, and that didn't go too well. For Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, that's what you asked for. Like you said, like that's what we talked about. Like the rotation's not sexy, but that's going to get them innings, going to get them through. It's going to be average, and it was. Just unfortunately, the offense didn't come out for the Cardinals for them to be better than what they thought they were going to be. Good news for the Pirates, I guess, in some weird way that hey, they can maybe pull off some wins here. But yeah, this, like you said, that they are like the definition of mediocre, very much.
Yeah, that's just that's kind of how I would put them right now. Not really too many interesting players. Their best players are aging. Mason Wynn, I think, is he's the fun, electric young player to watch. Just does stuff on the diamond that a lot of people can't do. But yeah, you've got to I'm so used to the Cardinals calling up these guys and just immediately being good. So it's kind of interesting seeing like Jordan Walker, flounder a little bit. He was a guy who I was like, Cardinals just got a monster, and Jordan Walker's going to come up and be the next 30-30 guy or whatever, but that hasn't been the case. He's been quite bad. So you hope that the Pirates can contain him. Hope the Pirates can keep Mason Wynn off the base paths. Yeah, I mean that's about it. Like it's just not a great team. I feel like Michael Ciani has played really well against us this season, though, which is
probably
unfortunate because like he's also not very good, but I feel like he's done well against us.
Yeah. Well, Wilson Contreras on the IL. I mean, you look at the team like you did, Mason Wynn, really, really good season. Arenado, like a down year, but like he still like sneakily has a 3-WAR season. Again, like it's the Brian Hayes effect to that degree. Like the defense is still really good. So, but like it's still not terrible offensively, but certainly not like an Arenado type of year. So yeah, it's just it's kind of nice, and I hate to like be this way because like the Pirates have to do their parts, like they have to be good and get better and win. But like it is kind of nice to just seeing this downfall of the Cardinals because like you mentioned, like they are old, they're very old. Didn't mind those signings for the starting pitching at all. It's going to get them innings, get them through. But like, yeah, Lynch Lynn is also old. Gibson's also old. Sonny Gray's not getting any younger. Like the future of this Cardinals team also looks kind of bleak. So
Yeah.
that's fun. that's fun. Like you mentioned, like the guys that are calling up aren't hitting. They're not, they're not having find all the success on the top prospects and also like the unknowns. I feel like they're like the baseball version of the Patriots, right? Like they have a bunch of like Wes Welkers come up and just produce, and like they don't have that anymore, and the system's not all that deep. So yeah, I think we're definitely starting to see like the downfall of the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'd say their system has gotten better over the last year or two, but it's still not great.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I said, especially the pitching. Like the pitching is going to be a problem for them going forward. Just making sure that it's good because you mentioned the age. Like a lot of these guys aren't coming back next year. Some of them are, but like Sonny Gray is going to be 35 next year. Eric Fetty's going to be 32. Kyle Gibson has an option left on his deal. He's going to be 37 next year. Lance Lynn, that was a 1-year deal, but he's already 37. So and he's got a club option too. So yeah, Miles Michaelis, 36. So you've got these guys on this team who next year Miles Michaelis is going to be 37. He's still under contract. Sonny Gray is going to be 35. Fetty's going to be 32. Like it's an old rotation, and I feel like the old rotation guys, like they do tend to be more reliable. Like these guys all pitch innings. They've figured out a ways to stay healthy, but the older you get, the less effective you're going to be. But they do have some, like Murphy says, they've got some interesting pitchers coming up. Tink Hence, I know, is one in particular that I know of, I think he's in Double-A right now. So maybe he makes a debut next year. So maybe they get a little bit younger. But again, like their young guys outside of Wynn haven't really hit the ground running lately, which
Right.
is something we're not used to seeing.
For sure. Yeah. So then guess what's your prediction?
I think the Pirates split here. They take 2 out of 4. They're going to win tonight with Paul Skeens on the mound. And then they're going to win. They're going to win the bull. No, they're going to win. They're going to win the bullpen game. There's going to be a bullpen game this week, and they're going to win that.
So the Falter game and the Luis Ortiz game, they'll lose.
Yes, that's my guess.
Okay. Fair. I don't hate that at all. I feel like that's probably the way it's going to go. So I guess my question to you, the 307 fans that are there tonight, will they give Paul Skeens a standing ovation?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, I mean, you've got quote unquote the best fans in baseball. So what they like to call themselves. They've stopped showing up to games because their team, who is a perennial winner year after year after year for like 60 or so straight years, all of a sudden they're just having like a mediocre year. So they just gave up on them. So these are the best fans we're talking about. Yeah,
Best
I would
fans in
say a
baseball,
Monday.
baby.
Yeah, Monday night, few hundred people in the crowd. I'm gonna say no standing ovation for Paul Skeens, but that's just because he doesn't get pulled in the middle of an inning. So you got to kind of have that theater, right, where he's coming off the mound. I don't think we'll see one.
So, so what you're saying then is the best fans of baseball are going to ask for a curtain call,
Right?
from Paul Skeens.
No, I think Skeens. I honestly at this point, like, just give Skeens his 5 innings and just let him go. Like,
Let him go.
that's all we need. 5 innings out of you these next 2 starts.
All
Give
right.
us 2 5 innings of scoreless baseball. Lock up
Take
that
your
NL Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Money. All right. Good deal. Well, I say I'm thinking a split also. It's the battle of the mid. So let's get out of here then, I guess. We'll, of course, be back. There's games every single day this week as well. So we'll have a post-game shows after each game. Yeah, so we're back again tonight. Tyler and you will be on for the Paul Skeens, shockingly.
It pays to do the schedule, Donardo. Pays to do the schedule.
So thank you all for watching. Go ahead, hit the like, subscribe, do all the good stuff here. Appreciate you guys for sticking through this entire season with us, being up at 7 o'clock in the morning to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates and our fantasy teams. So we'll be back again tonight. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucs.